Intimacy expert to millions, Susan Bratton is a champion and advocate for all who desire intimacy and connection their whole life long. She is co-founder and CEO of Personal Life Media Inc., a publisher of heart-connected lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills, and the 20 LLC, a manufacturer of organic and botanical supplements that enhance sexual vitality. Susan, amazingly, is a best-selling author and publisher of 34 books and programs, including Sexual Soulmates and Relationship Magic. I'll put lots of links into the notes. And the best place to find Susan is betterlover.com, where you can read about relationship magic, sex techniques, and all the things you need to enable and empower a vitalized sex life well into our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. So there's a huge amount I want to ask you. Thank you so much for joining us today from California. I did want to start really by just taking you back a little bit and trying to understand what your teenage formative years were like, and whether the person you were then would recognize the person you are today.
Oh, yeah. I've become more and more of who I really am. My whole life has been growing into, I would say, my greatness. And I know when I'm talking to people on the other side of the pond, we Americans, we'll say things like, oh, I'm great. I'm even getting greater. I'm getting more amazing. I'm the best I've ever been. And I don't think it's as accepted in the, European culture to be like it is in America. But I think that's a mistake because, you as an expert in empathy and intimacy, my God, if you don't love yourself, like RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, who the hell else gonna love you, right?
Absolutely.
And I like to model appreciating myself. I like to model self-empathy and self-appreciation. So yeah, I've always been who I am, which is a courageous person who speaks up for others, and a fierce protector of others and a champion for others. I am very much in service to helping people, and the way that I help people, of course, is through opening them to their own possibility. And of course, in the area of sexuality, passionate lovemaking, bedroom communication skills, and intimate wellness, because when you introduced me, you said, good sex into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even beyond.
Yeah.
And at 64 years old, this little teenage girl who's still in here is having the best sex of her life. She got off to a rocky sexual start, but it turns out that almost everybody has sexual traumas of some kind. You can't live in our societies today, in our cultures today, and not be traumatized by sexuality. Between the censorship, the lack of sex education, religious repression, not even knowing the words for our own genitalia parts, feeling ashamed to ask for what we want, not even knowing what we want, all of these kinds of things. And then the whole kind of like religiously repressed, kind of male gaze view of sexuality that we're breaking free of, the constraints of that now. All of those kinds of things impact all of us. And I'm really here I'm not a therapist. I'm not a trauma healer. I am a publisher and author of passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills. So think about me not as the fixer, but as the opportunist. My tarot card would be the opportunist for sure. It would be, how do we create possibility together? How do we expand our intimate pleasure potential? How do we have all the kinds of orgasms the human body is capable of? How do we feel completely comfortable in the body we've been born into? How do we expand our capacity for pleasure? How do we deepen our heart connection? How do we live in the moment in our sexuality and give ourselves exactly what we need and want right now? It's the same as an appetite for food, Today I want to have salmon. Tomorrow I want to have a salad. The next day I would like to have some pasta. That's what our sex lives can be like as well. We can get out of this rote perspective of, okay, sex is intercourse and this is what we're here for and let's get the job done. And whether I come or not is, going to be questionable. I just want to erase all of that and move into what does our body want? What does she or he or they want in this moment? What do we need? Do we need a foot rub, to be held, to have some words of adoration? Do we want to be thrown down on the bed and ravished? Do we need a yoni massage or a lingam massage? Are we looking for some deep and passionate kissing? Do we want to have a threesome outdoor under the, rose arbor? What are we doing? What do we need? What will fuel and satisfy us? What will expand us and deepen our connection to ourselves and to our lovers? And I think the opportunity for that is, and I'll close off with this, that what I like to do is teach people about erotic play dates, opportunities to expand learning, pleasure, and connection through variety and novelty and trying new things. And that's a lot of what I bring to the table is here's 48 different ideas you can try that might be fun. Why don't you pick a couple of these? That's my sex life bucket list, which I developed, where you learn about 48 different things and then you mark them an A, a B, or a C. A is, oh yeah, that's on my bucket list. B is not on my list, but if you want to do it, Andrew, I'd do it. C is, it's not for me right now. Maybe I'll grow into that. That might be a turn on for me in the future. And so I think starting off your sexuality with a sex life bucket list, where are you in your sexuality? You as a unique individual. And what would you like to try next? Do you want to activate your G-spot? Do you want to try to have an orgasm from intercourse? Because that's simply a learned skill. Everyone can do it. You just need to know what to do. Where are you? Do you want to try a sex toy? Do you want to do, a lingerie photo shoot? Do you want me to put a blindfold on you and go down on you? What do you want? And I think that's what I ultimately do is I empower people to make the decisions about what's next for them and what their possibilities and opportunities are, because there's so many. So I'll drop a link that you could put in your show notes. The Sex Life Bucket List is at sexlifebucketlist.com. And that's where the 48 erotic play dates are. And I think that really kind of in some ways summarizes a lot of what I'm about.
Wow. You're the real deal, aren't you? When did you realize this was your calling? Because I guess it's not necessarily something a careers teacher at school says, hey, there's this job about sexual empowerment educator. Why don't you try that? When did you realize this was you?
Well, it's interesting. I was looking at was listening to a couple of your episodes and looking at all of the episodes that you've been recording and the variety of sexually connected human beings that you interview. And, whether it's someone who's in the pornography industry or someone who's in trauma healing or someone who's a sexologist or someone who's writing erotic literature or what have you, the sexuality field is blowing up. I've been doing this for 2 decades and I was fairly early in, and back in my day, there were, when I got started, there were basically sex therapists.
Mm-hmm.
That was what there were. There were a few tantra teachers and things like that. There were a couple of kink experts. But now, there's tantra, kink, BDSM, there's trauma healing, there's sex educators, there's sexological body workers, there's so many categories that the growth of people moving into the market of sexual, let's just call the whole thing sexual expansion, facilitation of sexual expansion, it's blowing up. I was just funny that one of your top markets is Nashville. You told me before we started recording. Hey, Nashville. I was just there this week and I was speaking at a trade show called Stimulate, which was a business to business trade show for doctors, sex educators, medi spas, and pleasure stores. I'd say those were the big four big categories of attendees. And it was a giant show with 100 companies exhibiting. There were 40 lube companies at that event. It was crazy. And so the intimate wellness is starting to penetrate the mainstream, which is interesting. And I think that when I started because I was 42 years old. I'd stopped wanting to have sex with my husband because I'd never had an orgasm from intercourse. We thought sex was intercourse. We didn't know. We didn't know shit like everybody. And I was dissatisfied and it was making him crazy. He felt unloved and I was avoiding him. And we thought, well, we could get divorced and had just, do that serial monogamy thing that people do, which is just escaping from their problems and the lack of education. Or we could educate ourselves and see if we could figure out how to help me have an orgasm from intercourse. Now, I am so massively multi-orgasmic 20 years later, it's unbelievable. My area of expertise is orgasmic expansion, orgasmic potential. There's over 20 kinds of orgasms the human body can make. We are massively multi-orgasmic creatures. And we have a wide variety of things that can make us come, whether that's techniques to use or locations to touch or objects of desire. We have so many modalities of orgasmic pleasure. And when my husband and I started seeking information to solve our problem, we went to some sex workshops. They told us what to do. We did it and it worked. That's the beauty of being a sex educator. It is easy. The hard part is finding your people because we're censored, shadow banned, and limited to our exposure. The upside is that when someone comes to me and says, I'd like to find my G-spot, or I'd like to become a multi-orgasmic man, or I'd like to have an expanded orgasm practice and do orgasmic meditation. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. I'm like, okay, well, here's the recipe. Here are the steps. Do it. It will work. The body works the way the body works. We have an operating system. Once you understand what keys to press, if you will, you can elicit the responses, and then you can deepen them and expand them and learn to sit in sensation and have incredible orgasmic capacity and amazing heart connection. Because your heart is another muscle. Just like expanding your orgasmic potential, your heart grows and gets better at loving and being loved and staying connected and staying present and all of those kinds of things too. They go hand in hand. The heart and the yoni, the heart and the lingam, they are, once you get that signal connected, you really start to have incredible sex. So we went to some workshops and went, holy shit, this is so easy. And I was in the Silicon Valley at the time, and we were Web 1.0 people. And so my husband and I saw the opportunity to bring essentially workshops online so that people all over the world could access these incredibly transformational experiences. And that's how I got started. But in the last 2 decades, the category of sex experts has just gone crazy. And the censorship is just as bad as it's always been, but it can't continue to exist forever. We will eclipse this censorship eventually, but it's getting worse right now. Censorship's getting worse right now. There's over 20 states now where we have to have very specific things that we follow so that we can keep having credit card merchant services and things like that, because we're getting shunted into, we're lumped in with porn, even though we teach passionate lovemaking. And this is hurting everyone. And they're, the politicians are trying to stuff the genie back into the bottle, and genie ain't going in there. It's out. She's out. And it's people want more, and they realize there is more. So they can shut us down, but they can't, they can shadow ban us and censor us, but they can't get rid of us. And we will prevail ultimately, because what keeps us young, healthy, and happier than if you take 2 people, a couple that, has been religiously repressed, traumatically hurt. They are on a social media service and they're not even aware of people like myself and all of your other guests. And they don't realize they can reverse their atrophy and they can continue to have great genitals till the day they die. And they just stop having intercourse and they think that's all it is. So then they stop touching each other. Then they sleep in separate beds and they're not even holding hands. Then their bodies are aging more quickly. Or the other couple who gets access to someone like myself through being on your show, and they get on my newsletter and they start finding G-spots and becoming multi-orgasmic men and doing all of these things. Then that couple, they start getting a sex life that gets better and better and better as they age, better and better over time, because they become masters of lovemaking. They become masters of pleasure with each other. They become comfortable and communicative, and they expand their orgasmic capacity and their heart connection with each other. And then they have all these great orgasms, and the orgasms create neurotransmitter cascades and hormone cascades, and reboots their nervous system and generates oxytocin, and improves their NK natural killer cell function, and improves their, gets rid of senescent cells, and helps with autophagy, and oxygenates their brain, and improves their cognitive function, and makes them fucking happy to be alive and to feel loved and connected to themselves and to others. And so then they live years longer, and they're living not only a healthier, but a way happier life. So I really feel like the censorship is suppression to keep us down so that we can be controlled. Because if we're unhappy, then we're acquiring products and we're watching television. What am I doing? I'm having orgasms, right? That's what I'm doing. And that's not buying things or consuming things. That's being in a state of pleasure. And that's dangerous, very dangerous. I am an uncontrollable woman. And the powers that be do not like that, right? They want to control. They want to keep us down. And when you keep sex down, you make people miserable. And it's just not going to scale. It's not going to keep going like this.
It's funny, isn't it? 'Cause I think if Big Pharma could create a tablet that gave all the benefits you talked about, they'd be selling the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But I think because they can't commercialize individuals' sexuality and individual sexual enjoyment, it's something that they try and limit. But do you know why there is still, and I believe there is still a reluctance or a fear or a shame or a taboo associated with sex? Is it society? Is it religion? Is it historical beliefs? Why is it?
It's two things. Number one, it's religious fundamentalism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially keeping women down, right? Making women breeders. They just want women to be trapped as breeders for the cult, the religious cult.
Because that's, and you said before that a lot of people think of or have thought of sex as being penis and vagina, PIV. That is what sex is. So you start off maybe just a bit of kissing, maybe you sort of play with your partner's breasts, maybe you go down on them, they go down on you, and then you have sex. The man ejaculates, and that's sex is finished, really. And I think we'd be in a much better place if we use the word pleasure instead of sex, because you said that I can get incredible pleasure by looking at you, by stroking your arms, by giving you a massage, by kissing you. So sex doesn't have to be intercourse. And I do think people struggle with that, particularly men. I think what am I now, mid-50s? So my erection isn't always as hard as it used to be. Sometimes it's hard to get an erection. So then I think, gosh, I can't have sex, therefore I failed. Rather than thinking, well, we can still have pleasure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Two things. Number one, I like people to have lots and lots of skills, but I really like, especially, male-female pair bonds, I really like them to understand how to have massively orgasmic intercourse, because our intercourse is incredible when done well. But the problem is that the only thing people see is pornography or movies and television. And the movies and television we're so mired in patriarchal views of sexuality, penis and vagina patriarchal views of sexuality, that's all we see. And it has nothing to do with female arousal or female-led pleasure or what women need. Even erectile dysfunction is considered to be a men's issue. Mm-hmm. When women have the same amount of erectile tissue as men do in our vulvas, and we have atrophy, we have difficulty engorging, we have sensation loss, we have incontinence, same effect, and we have loss of lubrication as well. And men have loss of semen volume, loss of testosterone production, we have loss of estrogen production and testosterone production. And there's a couple of things. One is that I like to teach all the pleasuring skill, but I particularly enjoy teaching orgasmic intercourse techniques. And the way that I do that is both through stroking and thrusting strategies that are designed for what the vagina wants. Because a lot of people think about the vagina as just like an inside out penis, like the tube that the sheath goes in, right? It's a totally different thing than that. And that is what you see when you see friction, pounding, banging, all that stuff. And sure, I mean, I like to get a good pounding now and again when I'm super engorged and very aroused. That's definitely not the kind of sex that I'm looking for early on in a lovemaking date. Especially with someone I've been with for 100 years, like Tim, my husband, whom you got to meet this morning. So, we had to learn how to have intercourse really well. We had to learn how to have orgasmic intercourse. And it's funny because I recently was riding Tim, cowgirl. I've been really enjoying my cowgirl lately. And part of the reason I enjoy cowgirl is that I was sexually assaulted so many times as a child by my stepfather that I always had, no matter what, I've had struggle being penetrated by a penis. The initial penetration is scary to my body. And so I found that cowgirl, where I get to penetrate myself, really helps me stay in my turn on rather than have that trigger of my body. And so I've started really enjoying cowgirl and for the last few years, maybe 5 years now. And I'm coming the whole time I'm having intercourse and I'm screaming in pleasure. And I recently said to Tim, am I too loud? I don't want to hurt your ear. I'm screaming right next to your head. I'm basically screaming in your face. I don't want to hurt you. Am I hurting you? And he's like, oh no, babe, I love this so much. Are you kidding me? I was like, this is heaven for me. And it's all the techniques that I've developed over the last couple of decades that I teach other people, because there's nothing unique about me at all. I have the same operating system as everyone else. I'm basically the recipe writer. I write you the step-by-step techniques so you can have those exact experiences. I'll drop another link as well while I'm thinking of it, because I never know where conversations are going to go. But I collected all of my best intercourse and orgasmic intercourse techniques together. They're articles I've written. They're all free. And there's a link to it at orgasmicintercourse.com. If you go there, you can learn glissando, heart tongue, feline grind. I have so many techniques. You're going to be like, I never thought about doing all of this with a penis and a vagina. This is amazing. Holy cow. It'll absolutely get you coming if you're not coming. And if you are coming, if you're having like one orgasm from intercourse, you can just come the whole time. It's really nice. So I love to teach people about orgasmic pleasure, but I also love to teach them about oral pleasuring, full body touch, yoni and lingam massage, kissing, breast play, nipple-gasms, breast-gasms, all of those kinds of things, anal pleasuring, etc. And it's interesting because there's a lot in the kink and BDSM world to explore. And I really appreciate the people who teach all of that. And my area of expertise is passionate lovemaking. It's what I just talked about. That's kind of what I teach is female forward lovemaking techniques that are pretty straightforward. You just need to know what to do. Like I have a thing called the Steamy Sex Ed video collection. It has over 200 lovemaking techniques. And I'll send a copy to you. Couples, it's digital video. Couples can watch it together, crack open the laptop, pop it up on your phone, lie in bed together, nestled in each other's arms, watch the videos, or put it up on your big screen in your bedroom and follow along and do what they're doing to each other to your partner. It really helps people realize how many pleasuring techniques there are available that are especially vital to getting a woman coming really, really well. And then getting men to understand that there's way more beyond their single ejaculatory orgasmic response, that men are just as orgasmic as women.
Goodness, I must want to stop and go to these websites now. There's so many things you talked about I've never heard of. So, and I thought I'd educated myself pretty well, really. When I met Tim earlier, he looked like a pretty happy guy, like the guy that got the cream, and I think I understand now why. So you've written so many books, so many guys, you spent so much time on this. It's probably very hard to single something out, but do you have a favorite concept, technique that you'd encourage everybody to try?
It's funny, I'm working on 2 more books right now. The Alchemy of Intimacy.
Yeah.
About the 10 guiding rules that Tim and I have lived for 34 years, longer together than apart, where our sex life keeps getting better and better together, and our love life does too. And I'm also writing Come With Me, the 20 kinds of orgasms the human body can have. The 20th one is a wild card because I keep discovering more orgasms, because I really do like to write those recipes. I think that the reason I have, and it's 44 books and programs, I've published the work of my mentors as well. So I've written 34, but there are also 10 books and programs where I carry forward the lineages of my mentors. So I come from a long line. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants who took me under their wing and gave me all of their work to carry forward. And I think the reason why I have so many books and programs is that I want to meet people where they are, where their next step. And people are all over the map sexually. Somebody might be like, I'm having trouble getting hard all the time. It's not reliable anymore. What do I do? Well, get my pumping guide at pumpingguide.com. Of course, I always drop the links because people want to know this stuff. Get a vacuum erection device. Get the Whopper vacuum erection device. Start taking nitric oxide supplements. Pump every other day for 3 to 6 months. You will completely reverse that penile atrophy. You'll improve blood carrying capacity. You'll get a nice, firm, hard erection again. Your dick will get veiny again like your forearms were when you were young. And you won't have any trouble getting hard or staying hard. If after a few months of pumping, you're still having trouble holding blood in your penis, go get acoustic wave therapy, Gaines wave. We have that here in the U.S., and there's shock wave around the world. Get some Gaines wave treatments, and it will knock the plaque off that penile vascular system. It'll stimulate even more new tissue growth than the vacuum erection device, and it will help you fix that venous leakage, which is typically what creates erectile dysfunction. So, there's that, or someone might be like, I want to good at giving blowjobs. I heard you say I could come if I give a blowjob. How do I learn how to do that? How do I help my partner know what she wants and ask me for it? I really want her to ask me for what she wants in the bedroom. Okay, get the Sexual Soulmate Pact. I can't get my wife to calm down enough. She's so stressed out. I know if I fucked her, she'd be a lot happier. What do I do? How do I get my wife to want me for sex again? Okay, read the Revive Her Drive and the Seduction Trilogy, because those are programs that teach you that you've been treating her like a dude and she doesn't have that response. She doesn't have the male testosterone dominant response. So here's how you help a woman get out of her head and into her body and go up her arousal ladder, which has much steeper steps than yours, because when you're healthy, you wake up with morning wood, you're horny, you're ready to go. It's just the hemodynamics, the blood flow of the male body is totally different than the female body. So meet her where she is and help her get where you want to go together. She's not walking around horny like you are. Women are responsive, not spontaneous. We've heard that from a million people now. That's Dr. Beverly Sasson, is that her last name's work? Bass? I forget. She came up with that model, which is so good. I think that really helps women not feel so guilty that there's something wrong with them. Women think there's something wrong with them, and then their partners think there's something wrong with them. And there's not a goddamn thing wrong with them. They just literally have never been made love to the way the female psyche and physicality needs to be made love to. So once you get orgasmic intercourse techniques. You get some seduction with integrity. You understand your arousal ladder. You understand blood flow. You do some yoni massages. You encourage your woman. You don't expect her to be ready. You don't take it as like there's, men take it as rejection. Like, oh, she doesn't want to have sex with me. She doesn't want me. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Right. So it just really depends, because sexuality is a vast landscape and people enter into it from all different places. So there's all different books for all different reasons.
And as a concrete question, so our children are sort of late teens now, about to leave home, going off to college. So we'll suddenly, after sort of 20 years or whatever, suddenly have this, what do you call it, empty nest.
Yeah.
And part of me sort of thinks, we're sort of look at each other and think, oh gosh, what do we do now? We spent 20 years bringing up these kids. They've brought them, they're amazing kids now, they're fabulous, they're ready to make their own way in the world, and we can support them, but we don't need to be there for them every second, every day.
Yeah.
And how do we go from maybe being parents and carers first to perhaps rediscovering what we had 25 years ago when we first met, and sex seemed to be all we could think about? It feels like a long time ago. Do you ever get people that ask you that sort of question? And what do you do? Where do we go?
Yeah, in that particular case, I would offer that you do the expanded orgasm practice. expandherorgasmtonight.com. I'll send a copy to you after we're done. Make sure I get your personal contact, because I know you came in through my publicist, who's lovely. Oh no, I think we met on Podmatch. That was great. Yes, that's right. I do have your contact info. So Expand Her Orgasm Tonight. The expanded orgasm practice is a very, very interesting practice. I've been doing it for decades with Tim. And we lay down a couple times a week together. He puts on a pair of cotton fisherman pants and a t-shirt, and he sits on a little meditation pillow, a zafu, leans up against the headboard. I butterfly my legs open down perpendicularly to him, and he gives me a yoni massage with nice oil. And then he lightly strokes my clitoris. The expanded orgasm practice is a 5-stroke technique. There are 3 opening strokes: the bread and butter stroke and the closing stroke. And they're pretty straightforward, very easy to learn. And the way that it works is, essentially, if you think about orgasms, there's an orgasm. If you think about the, Masters and Johnson's model of orgasm, that's the male ejaculatory orgasm. And so women think that's the orgasm they're supposed to have, which is total bullshit. One more patriarchal thing. We have, and all bodies have, this massive capacity to come and come and come and come and come. Literally, the only upper limit to how much you can orgasm is when you get tired or thirsty. You just need to take a break. You've just come so much. I mean, I can easily come for an hour. Easily. I can come for 3 hours as long as I take breaks in the middle, throughout it. Just rest for a minute. I come longer. I've come for weekends, I mean, we all have this ability. I'm not special. I just learned the pathways. It's basically creating neural pathways between the genital structures and the brain. The brain is the biggest sex organ. And so you've got to activate those neural pathways. It's your nervous system, right? You're using that. That's what it is. Your somatosensory complex is what registers the pleasure. It's up in your brain.
Does your vagina and your clit does it not get too sensitive?
No, because here's the thing with expanded orgasms. This is what's interesting. It's a very, very, very delicate technique. And when you have your finger on a clit and you're stroking it oh so lightly, and you've learned to feel that light touch, you can keep coming and coming and coming over and over. And the way that it works is it toggles your nervous system. You have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous system. And you need to stair step. That's why arousal is a ladder. It's more like a stair step. But the stairs at the bottom are really big and steep. And it takes to get up to the next one. But as you go up the arousal ladder, the steps get easier and easier. Pretty soon you're almost like on an escalator. It's taking you higher. You're just going higher. A regular orgasm is I go up, 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 I have my climax, and then I fall down and I have this refractory period. Well, women really don't have much of a refractory period if they learn how to have a more delicate touch to their genital structures. And by the way, the clitoris is just a part of the genital structures. We've got the clitoral complex, we've got the urethral, periurethral complex, we've got the perineal complex. We've got as much tissue in and around our vaginal cavern as our male body partners do in their fully erect penis. And their fully erect penis, only about half of it sticks out. Half of it goes in and down toward his testicles. So it's like a banana's worth of tissue in there. But it takes a long time for us to get the blood flowing into that tissue, to expand it and engorge it, to expand all that plump that tissue up so that it has more surface area, sending more signals to the brain. The regular orgasm is that old refractory orgasm. That's like, I'm going to drive my clit super hard, I'm going to come, and then I'm done. And that's what most people are doing. That's like toddler level sex. And then some women and people, some humans, can have multiple orgasms. So they'll have a few of those. They'll link those together. Then they'll realize, oh, and this is what's great about sex. I'm telling you these things, and your listeners are going to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do all this stuff Susan Bratton just said. Like, I didn't think about it, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, I want to try this now. So an extended orgasm is where I get into that moment of climax, and instead of it just being a peak that falls off, I now hold and stay in that peak. I develop my ability to withstand pleasurable sensation, hold and be in sensation, which most of us kind of freaks us out. Like, we're so in purity culture that it's like, ooh, okay, I'm going to have this one moment, but, I don't want to get carried away and have too much pleasure, right? So you have to train your body to stay in that moment of climax. So you can extend the moment of climax. That's an extended orgasm. An expanded orgasm, which this clitoral stroking technique teaches your body to do, is where you get on that stair step and you start to have longer and longer orgasms. You take a little break and then you have another one, longer and longer, another break, and then you have another one, longer and longer and longer, and more intense. So as you get more turned on and stay in orgasm, the orgasms become more pleasurable. You actually train your body to do that. And the reason that I like the expanded orgasm practice for you and your wife as empty nesters is, number one, it's very meditative. This technique was created in California by Moore University. They were a sex cult in the 70s. And they begat many different versions of it, from extended massive orgasm to deliberate orgasm to the butterfly Venus effect to orgasmic meditation. My version of it, because I'm downline of the direct and original lineage, is this expanded orgasm practice with Dr. Patty Taylor. She's my orgasmic master. She got a PhD in human orgasm. That's what got me involved in all of this. Expanding what orgasmic capacity is possible in the human body. I studied orgasm for 20 years, following in her footsteps. And what I like about the expanded orgasm practice is that you, Andrew, you are going to learn how to get into deep limbic connection with your partner. You're going to learn how to feel her. You're going to feel her. She's going to feel you feeling you. You're going to feel her feeling you. You're going to create this deep limbic connection where you know exactly, after some practice, and that's why it's called an expanded orgasm practice, because you get better and better and better at it as you go. My husband can literally put his finger on me and just hold it there and make me come. Like, he's so kinesthetic and tuned in to my turn on. And my turn on is constantly evolving. I mean, even though I'm 64, I still menstruate because I have bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and I was a late menstruator, so I'm still menstruating regularly, which is crazy, which I think is a good sign of health, right? I mean, I think, it's definitely one of the factors of good health. And, your ovaries are a hormone signaling system. They're not just there to regulate your menstrual cycle or to help you conceive. They're actually a hormone signaling system for your whole body, and they're a big part of youth. And so when because I run with the moon still, right? I'm on a moon cycle. Sometimes I really need a lot of sensation, and other times I need the most delicate touch possible. Sometimes I don't even want his fingers inside me. I just like how I'm coming from my labia and my mons and my clitoral hood and the clitoral tip and shaft. I don't even need anything vaginal during the beginnings of our experience. And other times I'm like, get in there and put the hammer down on my G-spot, daddy. Right? I mean, it's always going to be different. And so what it teaches you is to feel yourself and what you want. Tell your partner what you need. Your partner can feel what you're needing and deliver it. And you essentially, Andrew, are going to take her higher and higher and higher. You're going to know when to give her those parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system breaks. You're going to learn how to toggle her nervous system. You're going to learn how to intensify. You're going to know the moment she's in that orgasm, you're going to hold it there and keep her in it. You're going to let her down. You're going to give her some downstrokes. You're going to give her some rest beats. You're going to give her something called peaking. Peaking is this slight, like you're delivering and she's feeling it and she's coming, but then you just pause for a beat and it makes her reach for the sensation that you stopped. You can even do this energetically. You could keep stroking, but energetically pause. And she'll reach toward it and it'll intensify your orgasms. So basically your wife will be there, lying there, coming, while you're barely even moving. And you're locked in this conjoined trance state of ecstatic bliss. And you're taking her on this journey. She's riding your ride. And the power that you feel from being able to exert this pleasure on her system, hearing her coming, hearing her moaning, feeling her contractions, feeling her have this incredible experience, that fuels both of you. It makes you proud of yourself, feel accomplished, feel sexy, feel like the man who's taking care of his woman and delivering her this unbelievable pleasure. It's hot. You get turned on, your dick gets hard, you're really so excited about it. And when you hold this practice as something that you do a couple of times a week with no requirement for her to do more at the end of the experience,
Right.
she'll actually want to have more intercourse, more oral, more things with you because the pressure's off her to have intercourse or anything. You hold this practice as its own entity. And when you do that, she'll lay down with you and let you do it to her because there's no quid pro quo. It's not a, I'll do you and then you'll do me. That's not the way to get sex. That's not the way to have hot sex with a woman at all. And you will ultimately end up having much hotter sex. You'll be much more emotionally close. You'll feel so proud of these incredible experiences you're co-creating. And the last thing I'll say about the expanded orgasm practice that's really nice is that the way Dr. Patty set it up, there's videos there, you learn the 5 opening strokes, you watch it, you see the fingers on the pussy, like it's video, you see it. And you should watch it together, right? I mean, it's really nice for that. But what I think is the real crowning achievement of her program is that because she was so immersed in the extended massive orgasm, the extended orgasm practice, is that she created 21 erotic play dates as a part of the learning. And you could do it in 21 days or 21 weeks or 21 months. It doesn't matter. And you can do them in any order. Because if you think about an extended orgasm practice, it's kind of like a sphere with many facets. And each one of the facets is a little mini workshop. You do this one thing on this one day together with your expanded orgasm practice. And what it does is it creates this dimensionality of knowledge, experience, and education. It opens you, it gets you communicating, it gets you exploring, it gets you coming really well. And I love that because going back to what got me into this was going to sex workshops and learning skills like these. Dr. Patty was my mentor. And I said, we've got to bring this out of a workshop and into digital so that people around the world can have these experiences. They can learn it in the privacy of their own bedroom. Because not everybody, and they don't even have those workshops anymore. This is a fundamental technique. And what I love is that couples who do these play dates together, these erotic play dates together, and they learn these 21 different aspects of the technique, my God, the level of orgasmic potential just goes through the roof. The satisfaction you have with each other, how much better sex gets, all the sex you have gets. I mean, it's just, I don't think there could be a better technique for an empty nester couple than that.
It's quite emotional talking to you. You take, you're taking me to places I haven't been to before. So on a personal level, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things you talked about then was that you're still, you still have periods, you're still sort of following the moon. For a lot of women, once you get to varies by age, I guess, mid-50s, late 50s, whatever, they go through or approach menopause. And I think for some people, there's a feeling that, well, that's sort of the end of our sex life now, really. Or women have very different feelings. Men struggle to understand it. How do women that are going through the menopause, how do you help them to enhance, improve, empower, own their sexuality?
I mean, fuck them really well. Fuck them all the way through it. Give them orgasms all the way through it. Spank them. Have them go down on you. Give them orgasms. Play with their titties. Tell them how hot they are. Come up with erotic play dates. Bring in sex toys. Get the splash blankets. Get your sex toys. Get your CBD lubes. Learn how to eat her pussy such that she is just writhing all over the bed. Becomes so good at pleasuring her that she's setting up sex dates with you.
I think some of it is that I think men feel vulnerable in their lack of knowledge, I think, and almost back away in a way. And that's, I guess, when people start having affairs or look for something else, and they're not actually fully embedded, really. A lot of it's about knowledge, isn't it, really? And being able to talk to one another. And a lot of couples just don't have the conversations that you and Tim have been having for the last few decades. Really. They steer away from it and talk to somebody else.
Remember when I introduced myself and I said I do passionate lovemaking techniques, bedroom communication skills, and intimate wellness techniques. Those are the 3 legs of the stool. And yes, remember I also said we're censored. You can't find us. Thank God for your podcast, Andrew, right? I mean, that's how people find us. It's like the only bastion of uncensored sexual conversation there is out there. That and maybe like my newsletter. Why do I run my own email servers? Because if I was on some email company and they realized what I was writing about, which is how to stroke a clit, God forbid, I'd get shut down, right? I have to have an entire tech team build. There's 17 people in my company. Because I can't run any software as service because I'll be shut down. As soon as they want to go public, they can't get institutional money because there's no money in sexuality, right? This is what's going on with censorship. So people are only stuck here because of censorship. This is why people think that, oh, sex is over at menopause, or, how do I pleasure a pussy? How do I pleasure a cock? How do I do any of these things? Like, you don't see, all we see is porn and movies made by studios run by men. It's all penis and vagina, not even, it's what feels good to a penis in vagina sex. It's not what feels good to a yoni. So if everyone was taught what all the parts were, how to make love, how to know what you want and how to ask for it. How to know what you want and ask for it is really, really a huge thing, because most people, how to ask for it isn't the problem. It's they don't even know what they want.
Yeah.
Because they've never seen it. I don't want anything I've ever seen, right? Like all I've ever seen is porn, banging, a movie where, they're hot for each other and he rips her shirt off. She's still got her bra on. He pulls down her pants. He plunges and fight her and she goes, oh, like, oh, that is the fakest goddamn thing I've ever seen. That's just, bullshit, right? That's not how the yoni works. Maybe that's how it works when you're 27 years old and you're super hot for each other. The first or 2 or 3 times you have sex, but like 34 years later, how do Sir Tim and I have the most incredible sex of our lives in our 60s? Because we learned the skill. We sought out the skills. And that's the beauty of it. Like I also said, I tell you what to do, you do it, and it works. It's not hard. You just have to know what your options are. Goes back to the sex life bucket list. Okay, well, what do you want to learn? You want to de-armor your G spot? You want to find your P spot? Are you worried about prostate issues? Let's get you a P spot massager. Like where are you in the pachinko game of your sexuality, and what can I offer to you that will help you right now?
Is there anything left on your bucket list?
Well, it's so cute because I have a never-ending bucket list. I always have new things I'm doing, and Tim's so cute too because he'll say things like, "Do you have any new sex toys you want to try the next time we make love?" I'm always demoing new sex technology. One of the things that I like to teach people is something called orgasmic cross training. Part of what I do is I teach orgasmic activation. Orgasmic activation is waking up your genital structures, connecting brain to genitals so that you can feel. Because, the whole world of sexological body work solves that. It fixes traumas, but it also activates tissue. And what it does is it transforms tissue that feels numb, painful, shameful to be touched into tissue that feels pleasure. And most people think, okay, you've got to touch the tip of the clit. Yeah, of course, there's 10,000 nerve endings there. That's awesome. But you can give me an orgasm literally just touching my labia, rubbing my mons, touching my introital sphincter, the entrance to my vagina. You can touch all up inside my vagina. It's all activated now. So everything feels good to me. Nipplegasms, footgasms. I mean, I have orgasms in so many ways now. They just pour out of me because I've turned on the spigot. And the spigot is pumping some major water out now, which is fantastic. But that's not me. That's, like I said, I'm not special. I'm just a body. And I've just learned how to operate my body. So there's always more that I like to do. There are always new things that I want to try. I'm always in the mood for different stuff. And I'm always exploring, and I never stop exploring. And I hear about things and try them, and that's what's fun. Your sex life is a gift that just keeps on giving your entire life. As long as you remediate the atrophy of aging through some of these things I talked about, and you remediate the atrophy of aging for the female genital system too, because we atrophy as well. Our labia start to hang, our clitoris loses sensitivity, the tissue gets thin. We lose lubrication because we lose tissue volume. We have incontinence.
Bless you.
And all of those things can be plumped back up, activated, juicy. 64, and I have never had a juicier yoni than I do now. It is lush. It is right. It's like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. It's so nice.
Oh, the wonders of the world.
Oh, it's just wonderful right now. I just love it. And that's available to everyone. It doesn't have to be, you just go through menopause. All that menopause is the cessation of menstruation.
Mm.
Literally, that's all it is. And you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. Which I don't. I want to menstruate as long as I can.
I've taken a lot of your time, so I've got
Yeah.
two more questions, if that's okay, just very quick ones. One is, do you ever doubt yourself or feel unconfident?
Why should I?
You shouldn't. I never met somebody that almost owns themselves as much as you do, really. You really are. I guess you are who you want to be, and there's no need to apologize. And then my final question would be: you've already sort of pre-answered this, I guess, with 2 more books. But what does the next, who knows, 5, 10, 20 years? What does it look like? What does the future hold for you?
Yeah. There's a documentary being made about my life and my work.
Fabulous.
And it's really a documentary about the impact of censorship on sexuality and on
Mhm.
humanity. It's done by a filmmaker who lives in the UK, and he does cause-based documentaries, feature-length documentaries, and we're beginning to work on that now, which is very exciting. And I've also recently launched something called the Intimacy Alliance. It's an alliance of all of these beautiful and wonderful sexologists and sexperts and all
Please.
of this. And we've banded together, and I lead them in understanding how to monetize their businesses better and how to work together collaboratively so we're a rising tide so that we can all grow in this constant, whacking that we get with censorship and being invisible in the world. It's when you make sexperts invisible, everybody loses. And so that's very exciting too. I'm at the point in my career where I'm helping lift up my people. I'm giving back. I'm teaching them what I know because I've been successful. And so that's been very, very rewarding for me to help lift up other people in my community around the world. I mean, I work with sexperts from Australia, from Europe, from everywhere, all over the place. We're all over the world, and that's really nice too. We're all coming together. We're stronger together. So I've been doing that.
A perfect place to end. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.
Make sure Tim knows his lucky son of a gun. And
He hears that a lot.
Betty does, yes. Betty
I'm
does,
lucky.
yeah.
Are you kidding me? The way that guy comes me, I'm the lucky one.
I love that. Thank you. And I can't wait for people to hear this. And yeah, send as many links as you feel comfortable with. And I look forward to exploring them and giving them more test drive. So yeah, really appreciate you.